So my name's Aaron Rose, as Callie said. So I work for Checkpoint Software Technologies. And specifically, I report into the office of the CTO. So my job at Checkpoint is to evangelize what we do, and then evangelize cybersecurity as a whole, not just product specific. So today we're going to talk about something called Secure Academy. And this isn't going to be your typical presentation. I have 4 slides. 5 if you include the one that says thank you. So it'll be nice and brief. But we're going to do something slightly different, a little bit more of an interview style. So we'll get it kicked off. Awesome. So Checkpoint Secure Academy. I'll tell you a little bit about it. I'll actually give you a history lesson. So when I came to Checkpoint, I actually had no experience in cybersecurity engineering specifically. I worked in sales. So I, with my previous employer, tried several times, like, okay, hey, I want to become an engineer. How do I do that? And the problem was they didn't have a path for me. There was no career path that existed. So this was about 5.5 years ago. So I took it on myself. I was much more technical than the majority of salespeople. So I started learning. I started training myself. I used YouTube and LinkedIn Learning, actually. So over time, I learned more and more. I was very passionate, enjoyed it. And I said, okay, I'm going to get my master's. So I went on, got my master's in information systems and security. Now from that, I got a call one day from Checkpoint Software. And they said, hey, we have this program. It's called the Entry-Level Security Engineering Program. So that was really important to me. It was a huge milestone in my life. So I got to go to Israel for 3 months, train with our R&D, and it was by far the best experience in my own personal history. So the reason I say that entry-level program, this was created by our company because we saw the need. We saw that the threats are getting worse, they're evolving, they're getting much more serious and impactful. So we had to say, okay, what are we going to do about this? We have software and technologies to prevent all of these attacks, but what are we going to do when it comes to expertise? Because there was another problem. We had this huge talent gap. There's, I think, 2.7 million job openings right now in cybersecurity globally that are being left unfilled. So the way we addressed this was the entry-level program initially, and then that evolved even further into the Secure Academy. And the idea here was, okay, we have this huge gap in talent. We have to address this, and the best way to do that is with higher education. So Checkpoint Secure Academy, the overall premise, is we're able to take our courseware, all of our content, build that into a package for universities to consume and use as a course. And the best part about this is they're actually getting hands-on experience. So the students, they're doing lab exercises. They're learning from myself and other people that are part of Checkpoint. We kind of do a little bit of we'll call it a roadshow as a guest speaker. So they're learning how to administer a firewall, how to define a security policy, and then what are the implications of that security policy, which I think is even more important than anything else. So they get that hands-on experience, and at the end of the course, they take a certification exam. So they will become Checkpoint certified as a security administrator. So all of this, I say this because when I first graduated college, many years ago, won't say how many, but when I first graduated college, I was like, all right, what the heck am I going to do with my life? Where do I go from here? Initially, I thought I was going to be a lawyer, and then I realized that required way too much school and money. And then I thought I'd go into finance and realized I hated finance. And then I ended up selling copiers for a living. And let me tell you, that's about as exciting as it sounds. So I left college, and I really didn't have a direction. And the problem is when I first started looking, I was like, okay, I want an entry-level security position. I'm like, awesome. Type it in, 1,200 results. The first 50 is like entry-level security engineer, 5 years of experience, and about 10 certifications that cost over $1,000 each. I'm like, what the entry level? Do you understand what those words mean? Obviously not. So where I'm going with this is when they graduate or when they finish the program, they actually have a real-world certification that matters, something that can get them a job, something that typically is very expensive. We're talking right about $5,000, I believe, for the course and the certification. All of this is at zero cost. We do not charge the institutions, the universities whatsoever for our content. We don't charge for the lab environments. We provide all of the software licenses that you need. So everything comes at zero cost to the university, but the value is honestly, it's kind of hard to measure in a lot of ways. So how am I doing on time? Like, good? 15? Awesome. Don't remember where I was going with that, so we'll just go ahead and skip ahead to the next slide. So far, Secure Academy's been around for about 5 years now, and we've spread quite a bit. So we have over 10,000 students that are part of the program, over 100 universities globally that have partnered with us, and we're in 52 countries worldwide. So it's pretty impactful, and it's really, to be quite honest, it's selling like hotcakes, but even though we're not actually selling anything. So what I want to do now is a little bit different. I'm going to invite a couple people onto stage. So I have Mr. Jeff Salter. He's an instructor from the University of South Carolina. He actually debuted the first Secure Academy course in South Carolina last semester. And then Mr. Aiden Silverman. Yes, yeah, come on up. So Aiden was a student that came from the University of South Carolina's Secure Academy program, the very first iteration. You guys turn on your mics?
Yep.
Awesome. Got your mic on?
Hello.
There we go. Awesome. Cool. So this is kind of awkward. You guys feel free to stand, sit, whatever you'd like to do. But I wanted to talk about the program and give you guys some information on, how did this go? How did we make this happen and what the experience was? So I'll ask you, Jeff, tell me a little bit about, the first semester. What was it like? What was it like for the students, do you think? And, what do you think you gained from it, and what do you think the students gained from it?
The first semester was, in a good way, it was a challenge because you had to take all this content that Checkpoint provided, but we had to convert it so it would fit into a academic semester, and that was trying to space things out, fill in any gaps we may have, and that's where Checkpoint came in. And anytime we needed speakers, anytime we needed any technical guidance, Aaron and their team, they were always there to visit class. I would get emails, hey, can we come to class today? By all means, please do. And so that was making that and building it into a full semester course was fun. Fun for me. I think the students, they got the experience from not only learning this content and experiencing the lab and actually getting the hands-on work, but the exposure to Checkpoint, Aaron, and all the engineers that came through, that I think really had just as much, if not more, impact on them as the content itself.
Right.
And then we have a lot of them here today, so if you see them, please ask them questions, talk to them, because not only with the class, but the exposure to all these representatives of this technology and these companies, that's been just invaluable to them.
Absolutely. And that's actually a part or a benefit of Secure Academy. So I won't lie to you. It's always evolving. We're always improving, and we want feedback from the universities. That is key. We need to understand what works for you and what doesn't, and then what can we do to improve upon it. Jeff has given me so many pointers, ideas for new content, et cetera, and we're trying to expand this at the university with quite a bit of other, maybe more advanced courses. But one of the bigger benefits that we kind of came up with, and this is something new, we're like, okay, we have all of these students, they're learning, they're getting this certification. Now, what is the other fundamental or the key to getting a job? Networking. You have to know people, be quite honest. So the idea there was, okay, we have all of these industry events like SC Decoded or our miniature CPX that we did, thank you to the Tineo group. So we have all of these events, and we have a lot of important people there. We have a lot of people that come from our customers and our partners. So that's where we started inviting the students. We're like, hey, come with us and meet people, network, because that is key in our industry. So second, I'll ask Aiden here. Tell me a little bit about your experience, your exposure in Secure Academy, and where that led.
So first, thank you, Aaron, for inviting me up here. And I wouldn't be here without the Salters. I know Jody's out there somewhere. Shout out Jody. So Checkpoint Secure Academy really is like the total package. It was the introduction for me to cybersecurity. And it really is just a one-stop shop for everything you could possibly need as a student. Practical experience, real-world application, and then, like Aaron was saying, a great chance to network and get a certification. There's really no reason why you would not take this class. Like he said, it's $5,000, ranging from around there if you're in the real world. But as a student, it's the same cost as any other class. So for me, it was a great experience. I hope to take the certification exam and pass it over the winter. I still have a couple more months. And last spring, I went to the Capitol Defense Summit as a part of the class. And I think the value statement to the students in the back is to just, like, don't be shy, just push yourself and get out there, because the biggest thing you can do is network and get your face out there. The class is just a step, a portal to open the window for you. But I met so many great people. At the conference, I met the Teneo group, and we just gelled immediately, and I was able to secure an internship as a sales intern, and I got an incredible experience, met so many amazing people, and I owe it all to them. Thank you so much, Paul and John. Thank you. So I just want to say, for all the students out here, like, this is the first step, and, like, congratulations for being here. And if you get the opportunity to go to another conference, I think there's one on Tuesday, show up, shake hands, meet people, because it's the best thing you can do.
Absolutely. So I want to recognize two other individuals. Alexandra, if you don't mind, would you stand up for me? And Mr. James Byrne that I saw just happened to walk in. So these two, these are also people that gained a benefit from Secure Academy outside of just the courseware. So Alexandra was hired full-time by the Teneo group, which I believe you met at the Capitol Defense event. And then James in the back, we actually started having conversations with his boss, Shane. He's the CIO of the Department of Employment and Workforce, and Shane is very, very passionate about education as well. And we started talking about internships and the ideas around that. So the Department of Employment and Workforce, that's a mouthful, they actually created a whole program around cybersecurity interns. And it's actually very impactful. It's very impressive, to be quite honest. They do this in we'll call it a cohort style, where they get real experience, they're able to work, it's flexible so they can still go to school. So James is currently an entry-level analyst at the SC-DO. So there's a lot of power and impact here, and we're just getting started. That's probably the most exciting part for me. So we'll transition a little bit. I'll tell you more about the courseware. So this is all based around security fundamentals and administration. We're actually advancing this much further. We have additional courses we're looking at adding to the USC. So we have cloud courses, we have API and automation, and we're actively developing an artificial intelligence course as well. So it's pretty impactful and a lot of power there. So Aiden, can you tell me a little bit? You connected with the program, or I'm sorry, with Teneo Group. Tell me a little bit about your internship. What was it like? What did you do?
So with the internship, I was able to get a glimpse into the engineer's lifestyle, but also mainly the business lifestyle. I was able to accompany the group at various events and meet people and like join them in calls.
Yep.
See it, like the kind of techniques they use to secure deals, and obviously get a good glimpse of like the products that they sell, the Checkpoint products that they sell.
So, all right, I'm gonna flip back. We'll see if you remember this. Way back when we first met, I asked the entire class, all right, what do you want to be when you grow up? What was your first thought? Where did you think you would land in a career field?
Well, I always wanted to be a baseball player, but that obviously wasn't going to
happen. That's the wrong answer.
No, but like for real, if it wasn't for Jody and Dr. Karen Gavigan and the College of Information and Communications, I don't know what I would do. I was a criminal justice major, and I was just like, my dad was a cop. Like, obviously, I'm not going to be a baseball player. Let's just try to do something. But then I met the Salters and Dr. Gavigan, and they really opened my eyes, and it's the best thing I could have done. The Secure Academy class and the courses that they're providing are really incredible.
Awesome. So part of the reason I asked that question is when I asked the class initially, I had someone tell me they wanted to be an engineer. I had someone tell me they wanted to work in legal. I had someone else talk about finance. We had another guy that actually gave me one of the most interesting answers. He wanted to work in cybersecurity for humanitarian causes and talk a lot about ethics and such. So the reason I say this, Jeff, I'll kind of ask you this as we close out. The course, initially my thought was anyone sitting in that class is wanting to become a security engineer. But Aiden here, was inspired through Teneo Group that he's like, I like the engineering aspect, I like the technical piece, but he loves the sales piece as well. So that's where he kind of learned a little bit more about how his career could evolve and develop. But do you think, based off of your experience studying with the students, do you think that this course can apply to students that don't want to go into an engineering or sales position?
Exactly. Because last semester, the first offering, we're offering it as a 480, and at USC, that's a special topics course, and sometimes they're late getting in the bulletin, so we had to get out and really, do some PR, push it in order to get they didn't know it really existed to register. So we had students, from all areas of campus, and I have a mental picture that, on the first row there were 3, and their interests were, is to continue and go to law school with cyber as a background. We had, the environmentalists, and there were just, several different areas that, no, they didn't, want to be a security, specialist, but they needed the theory and the experience. They needed to be able to talk the language.
Exactly.
And that question came up, towards the end of the semester. I got asked, well, how many are taking the exam? How many passed? And all that. I said, well, really, I don't have that answer because the way it was set up then was that exam was taken after, or the certification was taken after the semester ended. And it was the spring semester, and so once class was over, my students scattered to the wind, and I had no way to.
They don't text their favorite professor?
No. But anyway, and I said, well, that's a good, we can get that number. I said, but it really doesn't apply across the board because those law students or future law students, do they really need the certification?
It's a great question. I think that's,
but
and that's part of it. Yeah, that
they need the theory behind
right.
it.
I think that's key. No matter what field you go into, I think we're all very aware today. We see the news. There's a new attack, there's new ransomware, there's new phishing, there's something every single day. So even if you're not going into an engineering program or you don't want to be, hands on the keyboard all the time, working on firewalls and such or security solutions, you need to understand the basics of cybersecurity. You need to understand how it's impactful. Because even if you're super successful, you maybe get a business degree, you finish up, and you're a CIO or you're a director, you need to understand that policy that you're defining actually affects people, and how does it affect people, and what does it take to implement it. So I'll close out. Thank you all so much for your attentiveness. If you have any questions, let me know. We'll be hanging out. Other than that, have a great day. Enjoy the conference.